As hype of a patch that 1.2 is going to be, Kafka is definitely going to be a character that so many people are excited for, and with her being as exciting as she is also bringing a brand new playstyle that is centered around dots. And with bringing a brand new playstyle means that we're going to have to build new teammates, because not a lot of teammates are compatible with the dot centered team, and a lot more are actually way more beneficial than the ones that we've been using. So we're going to be going ahead and talk about who you should start leveling up, who you should start building for Kafka's best team, just because with this brand new playstyle, we're going to have to get all new characters to be able to fit what she actually does with auto-triggering dots, applying dots herself, all that type of stuff. And with as many energy and as many resources that you're going to have to spend to be able to level up these characters, doing it right now in version 1.1 or even at the starting portion of version 1.2 is going to be insanely beneficial than doing it when Kafka comes out, because then you won't have a team built for her, you won't have her best team ready. So let's go ahead and start now. Now, for the first character we're going to be talking about is Sampo. Now, Sampo is a critical and core component for Kafka's dot team for a reason. And yes, Kafka does have different avenues she could go through. She can go through mono lightning with, Servo, her, and we are going to be talking about Servo later. Servo, her, Silver Wolf, Bailu. These are different characters that you can put together that are going to do a lot of damage, and they all have really good synergy. But for the most part, Sampo on a dot team is almost a requirement just because of what he can do on talent and ultimate. On his talent, basically on his basic attack, skill, or ultimate, he has a chance to apply wind shear, which is going to be a dot for 3 turns. And overall, this is just good for Kafka. Is going to be able to apply and re-trigger all the dots, especially wind shear and shock at the same time, doing a lot of damage, helping with different shields. There's a lot of really cool stuff that comes from having the wind shear on. Now, for the main thing that is the core component or the critical component of Sampo's kit, that's why he's so needed, which is not really the wind shear, which it's pretty nice that he has that, is the ultimate. Now, for the ultimate, it is going to be attacking all enemies in the wave, so this is really great. It's going to be overall doing team-wide damage, which is really great. The best part about it is going to be when you do hit these enemies, they have a base chance of increasing the target's dot taken by 20% for 2 turns. So overall, in Kafka's dot team, for any dot that's applied to these characters, whether it be Sampo's, whether it be Kafka's, Servo's, hooks, all these different burns or all these different DOTs, they're going to be taking way more damage to the enemy because of Sampo's ultimate. So this is why Sampo is such a core and critical component when you're building out Kafka's team, and someone that you're probably going to have to level up regardless. So if you are looking forward to Kafka's best team, if you are looking forward to Kafka's best dot team, Sampo is basically it. Now, talking about the next character who's going to be alongside Sampo on Kafka's banner is going to be Luca. Now, Luca is going to be a bleed style type character. He's going to be able to trigger bleed on skill. For his ultimate, he's going to be able to give damage taken increased for the enemy. And then for his talent, he's going to auto trigger that bleed. So there's a lot of really cool things that come from Luca. You're able to give more damage in. So Kafka is going to be able to do more damage on her follow-up attacks, her skill, her ultimate, being able to trigger the bleed on her skill and ultimate. There's a lot of things going for Luca and a real good reason to put him on Kafka's team. But for as far as we know, we don't have anything in regards to his gameplay when it comes to what you can test or anything like that, because we just saw it through the stream. So that's all we're going to be saying about Luca. Now, for the next character that's going to be important, who's also going to be alongside Sampo and Luca, is going to be Servo. Now, Servo has a fat ton of synergy when it comes to being with Kafka just because of her talent and all the things that she can do. They both are going to be doing crazy AoE damage. They're both going to be applying shock through those different AoE damages. And also, not only that, Servo's actually going to do more damage and has damage buffs when enemies are shocked. So being able to pair Servo and Kafka together, yes, you are going to be adding the same dot, but at the same time, these two characters are going to be able to synergize so well just because Servo does get that damage buff when enemies are shocked. So putting her against lightning bosses, putting her against lightning enemies or a big ton of enemies that have lightning shields, Kafka and Servo are going to be absolutely eviscerating those enemies' health and their shields just because they have so much AoE damage, just because Kafka is able to apply so much shock. Same with Servo, and Servo's getting that damage buff just because those enemies are shocked. So there's a lot of really cool things you can do with Servo. This banner overall is going to be absolutely insane for Kafka and the value for Kafka's team, because for the most part, you're going to be able to use all of these characters with Kafka. Sampo is going to be giving you that dot taken increase. Luca is going to be auto triggering and also applying bleed. And also Servo is going to be getting a crazy damage buff, also applying shock as well to these enemies. So overall, it's just going to be a crazy value banner for Kafka. Now, for the other characters that aren't necessarily on Kafka's banner that we should look at, we're going to be looking at dot specifically. And that's going to be first with Hook. Now, Hook is going to be by far the best dot character in the game, just because her dot is actually scalable. Her dot is going to scale with her talent, and the thing about that is that she is the only one with this. They will not have scalable dots, they will have static dots, so this is very important to look at. Now for Hook, she is going to be very skill hungry. She's going to be applying the skill that she's going to be applying the burn. And not only that, when she does her ultimate, she's going to be getting damage buff, which is going to make her skill hit a little bit more. So when it comes to having a very strong dot, when it comes to having a very strong damage or DPS, Hook is going to be really great for this. But the problem, like I said, is that she is going to be taking a fat ton of skill points. So you might want to watch out when it comes to your team's skill economy. Now the other characters that are able to apply burn as well that are pretty nice are Himiko and Asta. Now Himiko, by far, although she's going to be very great when it comes to shield breaking, her dots is not scalable. It's going to be coming from any attack with a 50% base chance. So this is pretty low in all honesty, and you're not going to be rocking a bunch of effect hit rate on Himiko. So this is barely going to land, but you do have a chance to land it and it will last for 2 turns. Like I said, she is going to have really good shield breaking because her AoE is coming from her skill and her ultimate. But for the most part, Hook is still going to out DPS her in that department, especially with how her dot is actually scalable. And the next character is going to be Asta. Now Asta does apply a lot more utility to the team. She's able to do attack boosting, speed boosting through her ult, and she's also able to apply burn on her basic attack. Now the burn has a higher base chance than Himiko and also lasts for 3 turns. So in all honesty, if you are going to be applying burn when it comes to a DOT, you are going to want Asta instead of Himiko. But if you want a very high hitting bot dot, if you want a more damaging scale dot, then you are going to want to go for Hook, just because overall these characters alone, although they are better when it comes to either DPS or shield breaking, with Himiko doing a lot of damage, or shield breaking and then Asta giving more utility with speed, when it comes to the dot, especially around Kafka's dot center team, you want the dot to hit as much as you can because you are going to be re-triggering it multiple times through her skill and ultimate. So with that being said, Hook is going to be by far one of the better characters when it comes to applying the burn for Kafka's team. Kafka is going to be quite literally one of the more fun characters in the game for sure, but with that being said, you are going to have to want to level up these characters in order to get your best team for Kafka. Now for Kafka, most likely her best teams are going to consist of 3 dot characters and a survival character, but if you aren't as confident that your team is going to survive, then you're probably going to want to put 2 different characters that have dot, which are Kafka and somebody else, and then 2 survival characters. I would recommend, no matter what, for everyone just to go start leveling up Sampo, just because of how crucial and critical he is to the dot center team, with giving more damage on dots on ult. This is very strong, and he's also going to be applying wind shear. Other than that, it's up to you who else you put on your team. I think Servo is a really good option just because she does get that damage buff on shocked enemies, which Kafka is going to be putting on a lot. And not only that, you are going to be doing a massive amount of AoE damage regardless with Kafka and both Servo. So this is a really good option as well. Basically, whatever's on her banner right now is honestly some of her best teammates for sure. Hook, Asta, Himiko, although they're all really nice, I don't see them applying as much utility, as much dot damage for Kafka to be triggering. If you're going to be using, you know, someone like Luca, Servo, all this type of stuff, I do think the characters on her banner are going to be doing a little bit better than these other characters. But if you are looking for a fire type character for the dot damage, then Hook for sure is going to be much more useful just because her burn is actually scalable, while Asta and Himiko's aren't. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the characters that are going to be really good with Kafka, that are going to need to be built for Kafka's best dot team. So let me know who you're going to be building. Let me know if you already built them, if you already have Sampo or somebody leveled up, what teams you're going to be looking forward to doing. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. See you on the next one, and peace.